Woo! Yeah! Alright! Alright! How shall I have my hair up today? Still half up, half down, sitch. Oh, it's getting long, isn't it? Oh my God. Alright, Neanderthal. Alright, so put a little poll up on the Instagram on my broadcast channel. Forgot about that already. Better start updating that shit. Another thing to update all the damn time. Oh, look at that fresh. Yeah. Look, I'm ready for war. I think it was a Skull and Dagger window with space inside. And I can't remember what the third thing was. Tell you what, shall I check that shit right now? I'll check that shit right now. There you go, Skull and Sword, 54 votes. Medieval Window and Space, 46 votes. So not far apart. Flail, 16 votes. Well, we all know what's not going to happen today, and that's the flail. Let's draw a Skull and Dagger. Maybe I'll do the Space Window next time. It's time for battle. Let's do a Skull and Dagger. Skull and Sword, skull and something long and thin. The spoils of war. Just quickly before I start today's drawing, I've started the ambitious task of making a game. Well, it's going to be like a level, like a half-hour level. I don't know if some of you remember some of the animations I did before the 3D stuff. Yeah, it fell by the wayside a little bit. Just got a bit dominating of my mental state that I was getting too down the rabbit hole of learning Blender. Anyway, I got the bug again. But this time I thought I'd make a level. I'd spend time on something, not rush to get things out. Not rush to get out that content. I'm going to make a whole fucking level on Unreal Engine 5. I know ZBrush. I say I know ZBrush. I'm acquainted with ZBrush, so I'm learning a bit more of that. And yeah, I'm writing the whole lore of it. And yesterday I drew up like this alien thing that I think I want inside there. I designed it, like character design. And I'm gonna make this fucker in ZBrush. Let me show you my idea tree real quick. So this is my idea tree at the moment. I am gonna go to town. I'm not gonna hover too far because I don't want you to see the magic just yet. But basically, I want every damn thing in that game to be explainable, and then a lot of it I'm not going to explain when it happens. I want to leave some mystery for some people. Read back through the little animation stories I did, find out what the fuck's going on. But anyway, I'll post some more about that later. Here is today's drawing. So we go. Fresh A4 file in Procreate. I've dulled the file down a bit to a greyish tone so it doesn't burn my retinas, and let's start with layer uno, and this will be our sketch layer. But first, let's find some fucking reference. I'm gonna use a skull from a reference pack that I made and I sell on my online store. I'll link it here or down below or somewhere. I'm just gonna use one of them and I'm gonna make the fucking dagger up. Alright, so I've got my skull reference. Let's add that to a fucking... There we go. There's my reference. So I'm gonna draw this from scratch. But, peoples, don't feel hesitant to take this image straight into your project file, into the A4 sheet, and do a rough trace over the shape first if you can't get it right. Now listen, I'd probably do the same. If I was drawing for a client the next day, I'd smash out, find a picture, hopefully one that I took, stick it in there, and do a rough trace over the shape, and then part them and use the picture as reference. Rough trace the shape, the eyes, nose, mouth, head shape, everything like that. Rough lines, no shading. Take it apart, then use it as reference. Then you're still getting your flair on it, but you've got the realistic shape going on. Now I'm trying to practice to draw, always trying to practice draw skulls a bit more from scratch because they're hard. So I'm just going to draw this from scratch. Hey, I'm not the best. Tattoo skulls a lot doesn't mean I'm the master at drawing them. So I'm going to try today And again, I forgot to flip the screen. So let's flip the screen. Oh, right. Now, let's draw this skull. So, we've got our skull reference there. I'm only going to do the top half. I'm not going to do the bottom jaw. So, let's get out. You go into pen. Right, people asking about the pens all the time, so I'm going to be clear on this. Click on the pens. Go to drawing. Eagle Hawk's right there. Click on that Eagle Hawk. I've done nothing to this pen. It is exactly the same as when I got PROCREATE. So, get Eagle Hawk out and start drawing some shapes. So, you can use the classic head guide, which is, you know, that's the kind of circle. Make that a little bit bigger. Circle. If you don't know how to do that, draw a rough circle, put your finger on the screen, boom, it makes it into a perfect circle. Let's change the colour. Right, so you got that. Now you want to like, so if you can imagine, I can't draw on it. I'll bring it in so show you a bit better. So I'm going to use this just to get the aspect ratio, just to show you how a skull is. So I brought the skull in to my file. Now look, circle here, yeah? Right, so you draw a circle, hold it, snaps to a proper circle. So you've got here, you've got, this is how a skull's laid out, right? So you've got like a basic circle there. And then, now I'm just showing you, this is just an example so you can see. So when you're drawing like a guide for a head, and then usually you have your jawbone. So you have like this, if you imagine dissecting the circle down the middle, like it's got a clean cut down the middle. So the nose will be there, and then another clean cut down, let's get the angle of this right, through the middle of the circle as well. And then you can draw some like, you got to eyeball this a bit, but you draw like your triangles coming out, yeah? Right, so most of this you can kind of eyeball, so that'll give you like a better idea of the shape. Now I'm going to get rid of this skull. I'm going to go from there, and that will be my reference that I've just created from the photograph. So if you have a good reference, bring the reference in, trace a guide over the top, make it a lot faster, a lot easier. And then, I mean, bear in mind, we're drawing for a tattoo here. So this isn't like, fuck man, I'm gonna make some art, hang it in a studio wall. You want to, it's big part of this stuff is to draw with time in mind. So you're not like wasting your time, your free time that most people don't get paid for in this job, the evening before, usually for me anyway, to draw for the tattoo. So anything that speeds up the situation without ruining the final product is not a bad thing. So lock your layers, lock your layers. Remember, go away. I've got Eagle Hawk still on. Now I'm gonna go and draw a rough skull using the guide I just made. Like I said, I'm only gonna do the top part, so maybe I should have used that more in the guide. Or whatever, who cares? So remember, it's sort of at an angle. Eyeball your thing. Nose nose ended in the middle of the eye, so that should be where the circle is. Right there. Down here like this. Remember that line's going through the middle of the eyes. Eyeballs distances, so there's about, you've got to look at the distance between the nose here and the eye to make it as realistic as possible. So I'm going to judge it to about there, and then bring this in and start. Just getting a feel for it. That's why this pen's really good, man, because it gives you a chance to just get a feel for where you're going. Don't need to press down hard. Doesn't have to be neat. You can make it a little bit bigger, rough it out. Some ideas together, man. Remember I drew this little line here to go through the cheekbones. Yeah. Look at that picture. So the cheekbone looks like it goes almost straight through the middle of the eye. And you can use the stuff you're drawing as the guide you're making. So as you draw an eye, it'll give you a bit of a guide to where the cheekbone's going to be. Now you could do the whole thing, you could just trace this skull because I'm using this skull, but I'm in my head, the more I draw like this on paper, the faster I get, the easier it'll be to one day freehand a skull. And that's the mindset you should have, because ultimately if you're confident in drawing this stuff, freehanding is what's best for you, and it's best for the fucking tattoo. You know, unless it's somewhere like dead flat, like nowhere on the human body, then freehanding will always, in my opinion, will always look best. If you can do a good freehand, because it's always going to fit the body just right. So yeah, freehanding's always good thing to eventually master, to get down. Right, so it's very rough and fast. Get that in there. I'm going to fuck the teeth up so I don't have to worry about them too much. And then go to there. Bring in some more cheekbone definition. Giving it some love. And yeah. Something's shaking, I don't like it. Okay. My monitor was pushed up against my shelves. Fucking hell, I need to tidy up in here. Yeah, getting them details in. So how the fuck are you guys anyway while I'm drawing this? I have been working, designing this game, editing videos, taking pictures of random shit, spending time with my kids, and just you know, just having a good time. Now I feel like that's a bit higher, so we're going to use the liquefier. Bring the top of that nose down. Much better. That's what I'm talking about, man. Liquefier to the rescue. Yeah, this game thing, like, again, it's a project with other stuff in mind. Like, I am learning Unreal 5. I've got help of some friends, like my brother's really good at helping me with the folklore. Got a friend of mine, Benny from work, his girlfriend actually works in the gaming industry, so she's offered to help with a few bits. She's going to make a few bits and be involved too. So yeah, it should be cool. In my eyes, it's more of like an immersive story than an actual game. Like, you're not going to go in there and start battling wizards and fucking goblins in the tooth. You're going to be like exploring and finding out story, origins of the reason this queen is the way she is. And due to my influences and my interests right now of ancient civilizations, aliens and the such, a lot of it will be derived from stuff I've seen about that. But it's quite cool because I'm big into my medieval aesthetics. Yeah, the whole cabins and armors and shiny stuff. And I'm trying to mix that with more like, well, I'm not a massive fan of like obvious sci-fi. So like I like things like Dune and Interstellar, you know, like almost, I wouldn't say, I know Dune's not real in the slightest, but less shiny sci-fi. Does that make sense? Does it? Probably doesn't. Like, I'm not a big fan of like Star Trek. Don't mind Star Wars, but I'm not a big fan of it either. Like Mandalorian was sick though. But yeah, I just want to like involve the two. So everything's going to have this kind of like dark fucking cosmic horror essence look to it with a hint of sci-fi on the side. Right, I think I can work with that. use the liquefy tool to push things around, but there's the skull. So let's now dull the skull. You go in your layer, opacity down, just turn it down to whatever. Let's go for an even 50. For an even 50. And lock that shit up. Alright, now, sketching, peppermint, no change. Take that peppermint as is from the file in Procreate and get your fucking draw on. Okay? So, we're going to go peppermint now. Right, now we're going to pick out the details. Actually, yeah, fuck it. Now we're going to pick out the details. This skull. Ooh. See, I'm on a locked layer. Didn't let me draw on that. Didn't let me fuck up my drawing. Now this is still kind of rough because I've still got to rough out the dagger as well, but I just want to pick out some shapes. I want to make this quite big and just go in, pick out some shapes. Remember, I'm gonna fuck the teeth off. This is a spoil of a war. Fucking spoil of a war. So he's all like fucked and has no teeth. I've got my iPad upside down because it's on charge and the screen keeps going dark and fucking pissing me off. So get them cavities, them teeth cavities done in there. Get them fucked up, bringing up and around. Still looking at my reference, and I'm not being scientifically accurate with the amount of teeth that should be in this row. Please do not count the teeth and go, oh man, we've actually got 16,000 teeth on the top jaw. No one gives a shit. Unless you're a dentist and you've gone out of your way to get a medically accurate tooth situation. Well, actually, no, people do give a shit. Shut up, Jason. You should do it. How many teeth are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fuck off. No way. First time. Didn't even count that. Okay, so I hope this pleases you, you dentist fucks. I want to see these designs after. Not enough you send me your designs. A few people do on Instagram, they tag me in their stuff. I want to see it. I want to see them designs. So you better fucking show me. I'll display them on my Instagram. I'll put them up. Maybe I'll put my favourite ones in a post. An actual post on the page. Help spread your name out there as well. Not that it'll get very far. I fucking get fuck all reach, even with the followers I have. It's insane. It's quiet, man. It's so quiet. It's terrible times. I reckon I could have brought that nose top down, so actually, I will. Pro tip, if you want to liquefy all your layers, so I want to liquefy these two, just select them both, then go to liquefy, and then it will bring the layers down together. Maybe I could bring that down further there. Yeah, so it's a little bit further down in the skull. That's cool. All right. I've always found this is a hard bit, is drawing the insides of the eyes. Like, making them look kind of cool. Now, a lot of it's going to be blacked out, like, so you won't see all the detail. And that's probably more just to hide it, because it can get, I think, like, creative, what's the word? Creative something. I can't remember what the damn word is. When you like sacrifice some stuff for, you know, to make things work a bit better, whatever. So I'm not putting in shit ton of detail. I'll probably black out most of the eyes. As for light source, I'll probably keep this one quite simple just because it's got another aspect to it. Alright, so right, I'm going to use a big liquefier now and just move things around a little bit, because something's not clicking. Maybe I want the whole thing to be just a bit longer. See, the little changes. There's nothing wrong with being a bit of a perfectionist. Now, I know that's not perfect. There's bits of this that's winding me up, but you've got to remember as well, when you add the shadows, it changes the form. Okay, so like, it looks flat right now, but when we add the shadows, it'll probably bring it out a little bit more. Sorry, it'll give it more of a, give it more volume. It'll change the shape with the shadows, with the lighting. So anyway, there we have a skull. If you wanted to draw the bottom jaw, you have the guide there, so go ahead and draw the bottom jaw. I do not want it right now, and that's purely because I have 40 minutes left in my memory. Right, new layer. Now, I'm not going to bring up a reference for a dagger, eaglehawk, boom, but I suggest you do. Right, I'm actually going to make this whole thing a bit smaller because I just am. You don't need to, but I want to. So there's my size. Okay. I probably could have picked a better shape for this whole thing. Maybe I should have thought more about the dagger going through it. But it's fine. Still work with it. Should I go for a classic dagger in the skull? Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to group this, not that new layer. I'm going to group it and make that group, and I'm going to turn that off. Now, I'm going to go in the new layer. I'm going to turn on drawing guide, symmetry, and I'm just going to rough out a dagger. Nothing too mad. Nothing fun. Yeah. I'm getting a kind of Thundercats vibe going on right now. I want to keep it relatively wide because I don't like the idea of the skull being wide and the dagger being thin. There is a few things we could do to counteract that, like the loose hilt lever, etc. I'm going for an acorn top this time. Magic dagger. All right. So let's, yeah, that'll do. So there's roughed out a dagger. Right, now bring the other group back in. Now let's turn off drawing assist so it's not distracting. Let's move this around so it fits. You can make it a bit longer as well, actually. Yeah, I think, no, I won't make it a bit longer. I will do it at an angle. Or will I make it longer? I'll just turn snapping off. just whilst I sit here. Yeah, I think I'll make the blade a bit longer. So to do that, I'm literally going to select this part. I'm going to then make that selection in a free form. I'll make it a bit longer. And that's all. This is only the rough part, so it doesn't really matter if it doesn't look perfect. And now make it a little bit smaller, not in free form. I didn't mind that. And then go there. I want the entry point of the dagger to be on the top of the skull there. So bring it to about here. Yeah. Maybe I'll move the skull round a bit. So I can select that whole group now. Maybe I'll just have the skull like this instead. Right, now let's select our rough draw. Move, get rid of that. Now I don't like the fact that the line on the dagger is in line with the skull. It's winding me up. Right, so let's move this around a little bit. Just that, it's perfect. Just moving up a little bit. When things are in line like that, it winds me up, man, because it looks like it's just too. I don't know the word for it. It's too like in there with each other, like too constructed, not random enough. Now we have a rough dagger. So the dagger's entry point. So I'm gonna stick to the rough dagger. I'm gonna turn off assist, and I'm going to eagle hawk that. I'm gonna put the group down. I'm gonna lock the group, eagle hawk this shit, and I'm gonna make an entry point. So it cut in there. Make the sound effects while you're making it. That's the entry point. Now we can rub out the rest of the dagger, and you get a better idea of how it's going to look. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Right. Okay, so let's do a little neater rough. So lock the roughness, turn the opacity down, and lock the rough dagger. Let's go back to sketch. And let's do our workings on this. Now I want to make this dagger battle hardened, fucking gone through the shit. Probably a better idea would be to draw the dagger neater and then cut out the middle. And then you could have used the symmetry tool. That would have sped up the process. And then you could have placed it after the tool's done and then drawn the neat one. But I'm a fucking idiot, so I didn't do that. But you can do that, 100%. Because remember, when it comes to this point, I might add a few things that aren't already in it. But anyway, there's just a sketch. You can always add the symmetry line back in when you go to do the ink, and that'll give you a neater version of the dagger. That's for you perfectionists out there who will see the imperfections in the symmetry. Obviously, all my daggers are symmetrical. You don't have to draw them symmetrical. You can have them like at an angle or something like that. Maybe that would have been cool for today, but I'm not going to do it. You fucking kidding me? I'm not letting you out right now. Away. Get out of here. I love you though. But go! Get your Thundercat on. I don't know what these are. Sort of like fucking dragon toenail clippings. Right, now this is where I'm going to use something else in the sketch to fill out the volumes. First of all, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. Right, so I'm going to make this wider and just do this rough with this pen. Usually I would use the Eagle Hawk, but right now I'm going to use this because it's what I've got out. And I don't like to mix my layers with different pens. So that can come down there like this. So the hilt is loose upon the blade. And these little things like this is the way you can tie the two aspects of the design together. You can probably hear my girlfriend laughing her tits off in the background. What she's laughing about. Oh, I like the little acorn thing at the top. Looks like an urn. Maybe the ashes of their victims are stored in this urn. Tiny victims burnt to a crisp and put in this urn. Cool, I feel like we've got a nice rough design going on there. Right now I'm just gonna fucking opacity the shit out of everything. Unlock the group, turn the opacity down on that as well. Just turn it all down, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start shading and lining as I go, just making something fresh out of this fucker. Oh, unlock, opacity down, lock back up, did the same for that fuck. Lock back up, hold on, and one other layer, right at the bottom, that is still pretty high. There we go, right. Now, let's draw this fucker. I'm pretty happy with that. I think maybe the eyes of the skull are a little too big. Maybe. Might be something that will get fixed more in the shadows. But yeah, let's do this. Let's do the lines of this fucking skull and dagger. I'll keep my reference open. Not the lines, sorry, the sketch. You know what I mean. Watched a really cool video this morning when I woke up with my coffee and my cereal. I don't know if you guys follow them or you're into this shit, but the Y-Files. It's about the possible destruction of the human, near destruction of the human race by the Neanderthals. This guy's pretty cool. He'll debunk everything at the end. It's interesting shit, man. Interesting shit. The sort of stuff I'd watch while I'm drawing usually. Just learning about ancient life, the possibilities of other races and what could happen, what could have happened in the past. It's not part of the general narrative of history. Love that shit, man. Need to get free and easy with the pen. Soft strokes. Look how I've got the opacity all the way up on the pen here. I have it to the darkest, but just really soft. That's what the iPad's good for. It's got good pen pressure. It's easy to just let it hover above the screen and just get your lines in. Now a lot of the form, especially for the big shadows and stuff, so like the head, I'll do it now, but I'm going to use the old fucking, what's it called, bamboo chalk to accentuate the form. So as soon as I've finished some of the more minor details, I'll bring out the bamboo chalk and use that to kind of sort of speed up the process, but also bring in some bigger forms that would just be kind of pointless, just shading it with the pencil. This is more just to pick out pick out details and detailed shadows. Fuck, it's gonna have cracks in his skull because he got hit with a dagger. Right. Let's get that out. Right, so get your selection tool, freehand, just draw around the line you've already made. The line will mask the overlap of the bamboo chalk. Remember, if it goes over bits like on the dagger, stuff like that, you can always rub it out after. So a wise thing to do would be to do the bamboo chalk in a separate layer, because then you can go a bit mad with it and remove some bits you don't want. So let's do that in a separate layer. Now, someone asked me where I get the bamboo chalk from. It's in Procreate. If you go on sketching, right to the bottom, bamboo chalk. I don't know what I've changed in it. Spacing. Oh no, it's not that. Oh, cancel. I don't know what I've changed in it, but it's there. It's there in sketching. And then you just go soft. Remember, the dots will be bigger. Ah, my selection's gone. The dots will be bigger the larger the brush. So if you want a smoother look, make it smaller and go at it then. If you don't really want all that textured look to it. And this really ties together the brush strokes of the pencil strokes. And it will really bring out some more form. So especially areas like here under the drawer where it goes dark. You need to sketch the shit out of that. You can pick out the dark, intricate shadows when you come back to it. But for the main parts, use the bamboo chalk. Just above the eye ridge as well. Make some shape. You see how that just makes it, just that little shape above the eye cavity there already makes it more realistic. Just because there's definitely not enough shadow on the side here yet. I can bring that in a bit more. Personally, I don't like the way how smooth it looks, so I'm going to go back with the pencil and start picking off some parts. Unselect that, go back in to that, go back to the peppermint, and then add more details. So that's kind of cool. A lot of the time I'll be adding a lot more detail whilst I'm tattooing as well. But that's a good thing to reference from for the next day's work. I could be on this for hours, and I probably would if I was drawing this myself, regardless of whether it's in for a tattoo tomorrow. I would spend, I'd kind of lose myself in a bit. But yeah, this is cool for a sketch for a tattoo for the next day. For Flash, you could definitely neaten it out, give it a bit more. Maybe I'll come back at this after the video's finished recording and add some more details. So now we can be a bit more adventurous. I've got 12 minutes left on the clock. Fucking hell, I need to get a bigger memory card. Right, so let's give the dagger some life. Right, so that's the rough lines. Now I'm going to bamboo chalk this straight away on a separate layer. Probably a good rule of thumb would have been to draw the lines of the dagger on a separate layer as well. You've got to utilise layers. It's the most non-destructive form of drawing. Right, so I fucked up a bit and it all skipped forward a little bit. But yeah, basically I selected the dagger and bamboo chalked some in. I haven't finished yet, so I'm gonna do a little bit more. And we're gonna start from here, so alright. So yeah, I'm just using the bamboo chalk to highlight the dark side. The dark side. And then I'll go back in with the pen. Okay, so that's good with me. Actually, I'm gonna make the hilt a little bit darker. So it stands out a bit more amongst the rest of it. And see, I wasn't paying attention and I end up doing it all in the same layer. New layers every time. I'm just going to carry on this layer now. Turn off selection. Now I'm just going to go in with the normal pencil, the peppermint, and I'm going to pick out all the tiny details. Solidify the lines a bit more as I go as well. Add some funky hard shadows. Pro tip. There's one thing I learned a lot recently, and probably should have taken it in over the whole time I've been tattooing, is that don't avoid details in dark areas of tattoos. Add them still, because the difference between using a liner and a mag will show when it heals. And if you put details in the shadows, it just brings so much more to the table for the tattoo. Like, you'll be able to see it when it heals. You might not be able to see it when it's fresh, but when it heals, it'll be there and it will look fucking great. Also, when you're actually tattooing, if you've added white highlights, make sure you leave gaps when you're tattooing. When you're sketching, it doesn't matter because you can just do it over and it will look white, but on skin, it won't look as white when you go over black with white ink. So try and leave tiny gaps. So like if I was to tattoo here, I'd leave that gap there as skin and then put the white in, and that white will show up really vivid. Obviously all dependent on the skin tone of your customer, etc. You know, how their skin takes to white and all them obvious factors. But doing that on any skin tone really will mean that that white will be a lot more vibrant than if you didn't do it. Because yeah, white doesn't go over black. I still go over black with white ink, but usually it's just if I'm fading off into a black area is when I'll do it. Right, that's the main part of the sketch done. Right, now I'm going to lock everything because I already fucked up there by drawing on the same layer. Now I'm going to make one more layer, and this will be my highlight layer. So this is the white. Now it's metal, so you want to make some tasty highlights and everything. And I will do some in the skull as well, because skull bone is can be quite shiny under certain like more direct like point lighting. Not so much as the light spread, but it looks cool as on the tattoo anyway. I won't do it on the leather that would be in the hilt, just because although in real life it will have a shine to it, so you could mag over it with stuff. The main parts of the shine on the leather will be on the porous surface. The little bumps are all going to pick up a bit of light. But for this, I'm just going to do it on the metal. that area is like the top of the head. That's where it's going to catch the largest chunk of light, so that will be more faded. So you could mag that in. And you know, you don't even have to add white. White's a bonus. White's just nice. It doesn't always feel good on people, and obviously everyone knows that adding the white highlight to the end kills like shit. So the idea is to make sure that white will last. So yeah, you're best off doing white on blank skin. So all of this white I'm putting in the skull here, unless it's skin underneath, then I won't worry too much about putting it in. You can put it in the small points that would definitely pick up white, but you don't have to put it in all of it. But you can see it how it makes it look better straight away. Now that's done. It's all finished. It's fucking done. I actually did it. I actually screen recorded and got this right. I'm so happy now. So there we go. I will do the space and window next time. That'll be quite a fun one. Make a nice window and some spatial textures out of through the window. But yeah, I will tag my skull reference pack that I made in this video, so you could buy this for yourself. It is available on my online store, and if this is helpful, please like, subscribe, and do all that shit. And if you want more frequent videos and posts, I'm trying to make happen more often now. The dream is for this to start making a little bit of money on the side, meaning I can take some time out of work here and there to make more content. So if you want to support and you want to see more stuff like this, please consider jumping over to the Patreon. I've got like a lower tier of, I think it's like, well, I had to set up as dollars, so it's like $2 or £1 something a month. Just any support is great. If not, buy the skull reference pack or get on and buy me a coffee. All the links are down below, and I appreciate any of it. So I hope this is helpful. Please send me your sketches and I'll share them up on my Instagram or something like that. And yeah, fucking great. Love you all. I'll see you later.